So tax season here in the United States officially starts tomorrow on Monday, January 27th. This is actually a very important day because this means that millions and millions of people can start receiving their federal income tax returns. This is big because this means that those people could get money back into their pockets, into their wallets, and into their bank accounts so that they can buy food, keep a roof over their head, and put fuel in their cars. But as this is happening, Donald Trump has said something just the other day that has many of these IRS agents on high alert. Look at this. It says Donald Trump issues major threat to nearly 90,000 IRS agents, and that threat could impact you. I'm going to explain what's going on at this time, how millions of people could actually see an income tax return be delayed, but why this is also potentially good news. So I'm going to break all this down in just a moment, explain what is going on and how you are going to be impacted moving forward into February. So I'll do this in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So yes, President Trump has just issued a major threat to nearly 90,000 IRS agents. And he did this yesterday. I'll explain what Donald Trump just did. Look at this. It says, during an unscheduled stop on the casino floor in Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada on Saturday, Donald Trump said he might terminate the contracts of thousands of Internal Revenue Service workers, reviving debunked claims that the agency has hired 88,000 enforcement agents to go after taxpayers in the first few years. Goes on to say, on day one, I immediately halted the hiring of any new IRS agents. He says, they hired or tried to hire 88,000 new workers to go after you. And we're in the process of developing a plan to either terminate all of them or maybe we'll move them to the border. Now, what we've been told over the past several years, and it actually was pretty true, is that they were going to hire 80,000 new IRS agents to go after those tax cheats, is what they called them. But then there were reports that no, they weren't going after those tax cheats. They were technically going after the millionaires and billionaires of the U.S. That's who they were going after. The problem is they hired on 80,000 new IRS agents, didn't have much experience, so trying to go up against a group of lawyers who this is what they do and have done for decades, well, they had very little success. But according to reports, this year, if the Trump administration doesn't do something, what these 80,000 plus new IRS agents are going to do is they are not going to just go after the millionaires and billionaires. What they would then be instructed to do is treat everybody the same. So if you make $5,000, you make $25,000, you make $250,000, or you make $25 million, you'd be treated the same way, which means every single person could get audited. This is why the IRS is on high alert. But then just yesterday, Donald Trump says that he is going to he did halt all hiring, but this is why it really matters. Look at this. It says, should Trump really follow through on his threat and let go of thousands of IRS agents or transfer them to other roles? During his presidency, the agency could see its capacity to collect taxes and ensure that individuals and corporations comply with tax laws significantly reduced. That could lead to less enforcement, higher rates of tax evasion, and potentially less revenue for the federal government. Okay, here's the crazy part though. I want to explain what's going on here. Donald Trump, again, he's had some, or President Trump. I know it's still new, still trying to get to it. Okay, I want to read you this. Okay, because here's what we're now hearing. It says Trump's comments on IRS agents was made during the president's first swing state rally since taking office on Monday. Nevada, where Trump made promises to eliminate the tax on tips during his presidential campaign, was among the 7 swing states that gave the Republican a sweeping victory in November. On Saturday, President Trump told the crowd that he vowed to get it for you, no tax on tips. While talking about taxes, he made the threat to terminate thousands of IRS agents' jobs or move them to the U.S.-Mexico border. Yeah, either if you want to work for the federal government, well, this is what you're going to have to do. Listen to this. Goes on to say, I think we're going to move them to the border where they are allowed to carry guns. You know, they're so strong on guns, but these people are allowed to carry guns, so we'll probably move them to the border. Donald Trump is threatening to move these 88,000 IRS workers to the border. Yeah, this could be interesting. Now, here's where things are really going to be interesting. Lawmakers originally passed, this back in 2022, passed a bill called the Inflation Reduction Act. And the way that we were planning on, kind of reducing inflation was to hire more IRS agents to go after those tax cheats. It essentially didn't work. We saw inflation run up, right? Yes, inflation's come down. Now it's back up. It's at 2.9%. So higher than what the Federal Reserve really wants it at, but lower than what we've been at over the past several years. So that's the good news. Here's what you need to understand. If we've eliminated some of the $80 billion in funding for the IRS, right? So they don't have as much funding, but here's why the IRS is on high alert. Number one, if all these IRS agents get pulled from their federal office buildings and are now being told, go work at the border, who's going to be looking at our taxes? This is why experts believe that we could see delays. We could see month-long delays in tax returns coming to you. Not only that, if your tax return throws up a red flag and has to be reviewed by a human processor, that could take even longer. That means instead of few weeks, it could take few months. That could be devastating to people that are right now, especially low-income earners. Those are usually the ones that are going to file on day one. That is tomorrow. On Monday, January 27th, 2025, we are going to see many people file their federal income tax return because they need to get the money back. They need to do everything possible to get as much money back. Here's the other concern from the IRS. I got an email from somebody that works at the IRS. They were saying that the current administration is not going to be as lenient, not going to give a lot of leeway like the previous administration, where if there was a red flag that got thrown up and potentially calls for an audit, well, the previous administration wasn't going to target those in the lower income brackets. They're only going to go after those that are making potentially $500,000 or more. But this is where things are interesting. The Trump administration is trying to get rid of these agents. At the same time, these agents may be going after you. But at the same time, there's going to be less agents, meaning that your tax return could be delayed even further. So right now, a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen over the next several months. Well, it's all starting tomorrow, so we're going to figure out very soon what this IRS tax deadline season is going to look like. So, as we get more information on this, I promise I'll bring you all the latest news and updates. But that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.